Okay, good evening, everyone. So before we begin our experience sharing section on CELTA, I would like to introduce myself first. My name is Hantuna, and I'm a first-year PhD student in the Language Pedagogy and English Applied Linguistics at Hotel, Budapest, Hungary. Today, I'm going to act as a facilitator. Okay, hello, teacher. Could you please introduce yourself to the audience? Okay, let's start from CIE.
Okay, thank you, Siahan, for choosing me first. Hello, good evening. I'm MmTESOL. I have been teaching English for more than 15 years. I'm a working member in MmTESOL. Nice to see you all. Can you chat to that?
Good evening, everyone. And I'm Tusa, and I'm working as what young language teacher in ACA in Myanmar. Thank you, teacher Kenai.
Good evening, teachers. And I'm teacher Kenai, and I'm from Yangon, and I'm also a freelance teacher. Nice to meet you all. So what about teacher Dezing?
Good evening, teachers. I am Dezing Pugh. I work as a teacher at Streamline Training Learning Center for about 15 years, and I've been teaching English for more than 15 years too. Nice to meet you all. Siani, could you please introduce yourself?
Yes, okay. Hello, good evening, everyone. So my name is Zain, and I'm currently training IGCSE student, and I live in Yangon. Okay, so nice to meet you all. So what about teacher two?
Good evening, everyone. I'm Tu Nanda. So I'm from Molyneux. I'm a teacher and a founder of a small language academy, and I've been teaching English for about 10 years. So nice to meet you all. And I'd like to call Teacher Pyo. Yes, teacher, please.
Good evening, everybody. I'm from Yangon, and my name is Pyo Wite. I'm a freelance teacher as well as a teacher educator. Yeah, glad to see you all. Yeah, Siahe.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Heng Tanai. I'm working as a freelance teacher. Nice to meet you all. Could you please introduce teacher No?
I'm Noah Elizabeth. I'm from Streamline Training Learning Center. I've been teaching over 10 years. Thank you very much. Nice to see you all.
Okay, thank you, teachers, and thank you, the audience. Okay, shall we begin the knowledge sharing or experience sharing sections? Okay, let me begin with the first question I have had. So the first question is, what are the minimum requirements to join CELTA? So hello, CIE, could you please answer these questions?
Thank you again. Okay. If you're planning to do CELTA, okay, I'm going to highlight some minimum requirements. Okay, the very first thing is that you must be 18, 18. You must finish secondary education or high school. And then, in terms of proficiency language level, your language level should be C1 according to CEFR, so as to meet the demands or requirements of the course. And then you need to be if you have 3 choices in doing CELTA. The very first one is full time. If you are doing full time intensive, you must have the 4 or 5 weeks. And if you are doing hybrid, okay, it's at the banks. It can be in person and online. But for X, we are doing online. Our course lasts 2.5 months. The input section and 120 hours. And then as we are doing online, with regards to minimum requirements, we need to have a good laptop, stable internet connection, a healthy battery. Okay, and one more thing is that you need to be cooperative because you are doing CELTA. You are not alone. You need to do with some fellow trainings. So only when you cooperate, that will be okay. And one more things, you need to go through the application.
Hello. Okay, there might be something wrong with the connections. Okay, So I have had the CIN also, CIN want to find our application form. So that's why I would like to know more about the application form process. Okay, for that, I would like to call our teacher Tusa. Could you share your experience on application form with us?
All about that.
Okay, PowerPoint. So to fill up the application form, and I have divided 5 parts. And the first one is the personal duty, and the second one is academic and professional qualifications. And then you have to fill up written text. In number 4, language text, and 5, writing text approaches to teaching and learning. For number 1 and number 2, it's not quite difficult because we are filling up a personality and professional qualification. But I would like to briefly discuss about the written text. For the written text, there are 2 sessions that we need to fill up. And the first one is, one good learning experience and one negative learning experience. And we have to write at least 150 words per paragraph. And the second one is why you would like to take the CELTA course. This is also, we have to write 150 words per paragraph. So number 4 is, it is also a kind of testing language. So language text, there are 5 sessions that we need to fill up. And the first one is grammar, meaning, function, vocabulary, and phonology. And CIN has also mentioned about that language level should be equivalent with C1 advanced level, so that here start from portion 3, 4, 5 is testing language level. And then number 5 is testing writing level. Here we have to explain about previous teaching or learning experience, and we have to write down 150 words per paragraph. And number 2, how to collaborate with co-trainees, and 50 words per paragraph. And how to tackle the teacher-centered approach, and at least 150 words we have to write down. So number 1 and number 2, as I mentioned above, here it's not quite difficult, but start from number 3 to 5, it testing our language level. After we have done our application form, and we have to wait for 5 weeks, and there will be a result. And here the result, there are 3 types. The first one is that the center will be accepted, and the second one is the waiting list, and then the third one is that rejected. To fill out the this step, to overcome this step, don't think too much, and the most important thing is that think simply and write honestly, and show your language level here, because they are testing our language level here too. So if you want to overcome these steps, here you should think simply, write honestly, and show your language level here. And I'm sure your application is accepted. So this is the first part of the minimum requirement before the, personal interview. So if your application is accepted, the center will send you email for personal interview and date and time. So it is also another part of requirement before the CELTA course. So we would like to listen to the teacher Kenai experience of personal interview. Teacher Kenai, and the floor is yours.
Thank you, teachers, and nice to meet you again. Today I would like to share about the CELTA interview experience. So before I share the CELTA experience, so most of the teachers turn off their camera, but I would like to put a question to all of you. So if your answer is yes, you need to raise your right hand, and if your answer is no, you need to raise your left hand. Okay. So my question is the CELTA interview an important step in getting accepted into the course? Yes or no? Good. Okay, thank you, teachers. Now, most of you accept, most of the teachers accept, and they agree. So Saturday interview is one of the important steps. Yes. Okay. So you all are right. So interviews that it can be different depending on the standards. So there are some different interview steps and interview questions between the IH Bangor and British Council. And then Saturday interview is then a test. It is designed to get to know you. And during the interview, you have to talk about your teaching experience. After that, your future plan. After that, and the course conduct, so that you and your interviewer can be sure that is the right qualification to you. Yeah. So in that interview process, so I would like to divide two parts. The first part is how did I prepare before the interviews. So after I have passed the application process, I received to face the interviews through email from the center. So at that time, I think around about 3 or 4 days, right? I watched a lot of YouTube videos relating to the interview tips from the educators. This is the first one. After that, I asked a lot of suggestions and advice from the teachers who have already passed the center course from the different standard, because I think we will be the first graduate from the center of British Council India, I think New Delhi, right? Another one is that I did a lot of vocabulary exercises and grammar and functions and pronunciation exercises that we did in the application form, because I got some information. So some of the tutor asked some data from the written text. So that's why application process. Another one is very important one. So we try to join the online course. That's why our internet access, yes, and then laptop, and then power also is a very important part. That's why before I fix the interview, I always prepare for these things very well. And this is the first part. And second part is how did I face the interviews? So let me share my screen. Okay. On that day of interviews, I received a letter. I received an email from the tutor to do the task. It is the written task. In that written task, there are 4 sections: section A, B, C, and D. So there is also the instruction. You have to do this step within 20 minutes. Section A, B, and C. After that, you have to read roughly for section D. So we did it immediately on that time. After that, after we have done that one, we joined the interviews. So for me, according to my experience, I faced the interview with 3 Indian students and with 1 tutor. And as soon as we joined the class, we joined the rooms, the tutor asked me to introduce each other. After that, she asked a lot of questions according to our application forms. So our teaching background and our degree and maybe our opinion on teachings like that. So she has a lot of questions. After this question, she asked to do section B is learner errors. So how will you accept the learner error, and how will you correct the learner error? How will you teach in your classroom? So at that time, we did oral teaching in the classroom. Yes. After that, the tutor gave us around about 5 minutes to do mini lesson plan for vocabulary or grammar or function. So I was chosen to teach the functional language. So at that time, we had got around about 5 minutes to prepare the mini lesson plannings. And then we did demo teaching on the spot. So after that, the others trainee assessed. So our teachings, and they give a lot of suggestions and feedback on our teachings. So after that, section D, for the section D, the teacher. So the tutor asked, you have to discard one of those questions. There are 4 or 5 questions. So unfortunately, on that time, my laptop was out of order. So I was very sorry for that, and I was very nervous. So what should I do? And I'm trying to join the room again, but I think I was really nervous. And what should I do? And I have one laptop and 2 mobile phones. I was ready, but I joined with mobile phone, but I couldn't. And laptop also, I couldn't operate again. So at that time, I really tried to cry on that time. I wanted to cry, but I think it's around about 7 minutes. After 7 minutes, I could join again. On that time, the rest of the trainees have already discussed the question. So I apologize to that. So because of my internet connections, so sorry for that, and I apologize. And let me discuss one of the questions. At the time, she allowed me to discuss one of those questions. And after that, she asked me, if you are chosen as a participant, so can you do well your internet connection? So I know about your country. So she know at that time I kept promise, yes, I can do that. So in that way, I think even though it is not the best, how can I say, effort, but I did it well. I did it well, and from the time I was waiting for our result. So that's all my interview about it SETA interviews. And some of the teachers, if you are preparing the SETA interview, I wish you all the best for your SETA interview journey. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Teacher Kim. Thank you for sharing your experience. So far, we have covered things we really should know before joining the CELTA program. Therefore, I'm sure that today's audience will learn something from your experience, Teacher Kim. And for the audience, if you would like to know more about the introductory part, then you can type the question in the chat box, and then later I will keep them for our Q&A sections. Okay, this time I would like to ask questions related to the experience they have during the course. So for that, my first question is, what were some of the biggest challenges you faced during the CELTA course, and how did you overcome them? So for that question, I would like to call out Teacher 2. Teacher 2, could you please share your experience with us?
Thank you, Sia, for for letting me share my experience. So, of course, there were lots of, challenges that I faced during CELTA. And if I have to pick up 1 or 2, I would like to mention 2 things. The first thing is TTT, that is teacher talking time, in teaching practice. And the second thing is time management, again, in doing the teaching practice. So I like to go with the first one, TTT. So, the students were international students, they are Indian. So the expectation was that, they might not understand what I was teaching. So I started to explain a little bit more, especially the instruction. So my tutor always remind me not to talk a lot in the classroom and, just to reduce the TTT all the time. So it was really, really challenging for me, to deal with the international students, through online. So that's the first challenge. And, consequently, another big problem happened to me. That is time management. I couldn't finish, my lesson plan within 45 minutes because, I have to engage with the students, I have to see every single corner of, what's happening in the classroom at the time. So these 2 were really challenging for me, during CELTA. So how did I overcome them? So for the first one, like TTT, teachers talking time, the first thing that I needed to be careful is about the instruction. It needs to be clear, crisp and sharp. My tutor always told me like, short and sweet. So, for that one, I needed to write it down, the instruction, why I was doing the lesson planning. And also, another tips for TDT is that, I needed to write it down again, ICQ and CCQs. ICQ means instruction checking questions, and CCQ means like concept checking questions. So again, I didn't need to use all the CCQ and ICQ all the time. Only if necessary, I needed to use them. So that's also the tip of my tutor. Then I started to apply them in the teaching, so it helped me a lot to reduce the TDT. So that's the first way I overcome my challenge. The second one is about the time management. So here is the best advice from my tutor. That is, no matter how much we prepared in our lesson, or the exercises or the activities, in the real teaching, we needed to change a lot, right? So, my tutor told me that, I need to cut down some of the exercises and some of the activities if they want support for the main aim and sub aim. So I always needed to spend around about 20 minutes, for the productive stage, especially for the speaking, and also, to include the feedback section. So, so later I needed to reduce, some of the activities. I have to see the time very well, and then trying to overcome the second challenge, that's about the time management. So that's all about my bigger challenges and the way that I overcome through CELTA. Thank you so much. Yeah, yes.
Thank you, teacher too. Sayani, what about you? Did you also have similar or different experience? Please share with us.
Okay, so for me, I have quite different from teacher two. For me, the first thing, the biggest challenge for me is lesson planning. So the lesson plan they gave was really meticulous, so very detailed. So we have to write down the language analysis and then stages. So one of the challenges, like writing the language analysis. So to analyze the language that we are going to teach, I need to read some of the reference books. So that's how I try to overcome, by giving sufficient time to take the reference book from the library or from the resources they have provided to us. And also, to write the language analysis, sometimes I may round, so I can't take everything into from my heart. So that's why I ask my peers too. So they help me a lot to improve my lesson plan, and they also trying to make it compact in my lesson plan. So the lesson plans, all my lesson plans seems to be effective when I try to deliver the lesson. And the next one is like giving the hot feedback. We usually call the self-evaluation sheet. So in the self-evaluation sheet, especially there will be 4 questions. The first one is our overview of our overall feelings. Second one is what went well. The third one is what didn't went well. And the last one is if you would like to change, what would you like to change, like this. So to write it immediately, I need to take some time, but the tutors told me like, this is the hot feedback. You have to give it as soon as you finish your teaching. So that's why firstly, it was really hard, but I tried to overcome it. The reason is I took sufficient time to prepare my lesson before I wrote it down. Next one is I also asked my peers. So they also share their reflection form. So how did they wrote and how did they evaluate themselves quickly? And I also read the observation sheets that the tutor have shared before the lessons. So they help us a lot. The next one is I also observe myself throughout the teaching. So it will be a little bit daunting for me. So teaching and observing myself. So that's why I prepared a notebook next to me, and I wrote down some of the notes that I need to improve for my action points. What are my strengths? What would I need to change for the students and me, and how to make it more effective like this. So that's the 2 biggest challenges for me, and I'm trying to overcome them with by myself and the help of the peers and their support. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you, Sianini. So you have such a different experience, and great to hear that how you overcome your biggest challenges. And the tip you provide here are really handy for the audience, I guess. Okay, teacher Dazin, I expect that you will also have something to share with us, right? So as a teacher, we all know that we feel that balancing our work and study time might be one of the biggest challenges. Did you also feel the same while attending CELTA class?
Yes, definitely true, Sia. Thank you so much, Teacher Tu and Siani. You talked a lot about CELTA course, the challenges area. But well, for me, I like to talk from the outside view. First, I like to start with a quote. The road to success is not always easy, but overcoming challenges is what makes us stronger, right? So my biggest challenges during the CELTA course were balancing work and studying, coping with stress, and understanding different English accents. But with hard work and determination, I was able to overcome them all. Firstly, I like to talk about my workload and my study. Since I work 7 days in a week and spend at least 9 hours at work, I had to spend more time at night till 2 to 3 a.m. It was my routine for the whole CELTA course. Yes, of course, it was such an intensive one. It was really hard to manage stress during the CELTA course because going with deadlines of 4 assignments and 8 TBs were really challenging. Even we were still planning one assignment, there's an input section for another assignment and preparation section for TP as well. So, but finally, understanding different English accents was also a challenging part for me. I didn't have any experience with teaching speakers of other languages, so it took me some weeks to get used to with different accents. I recorded their voices during TB sections and listened several times. Then later on, I could find it easy and I could find some errors in the speaking activity as well. So during these CELTA calls, challenges are a lot, but still, one thing is that when there is a will, there is a way. So don't give up and keep up your good work.
Okay, thank you very much, Teacher Tse, so for sharing your experience. Again, I have got an interesting question. So as a learner, we also want to know whether the assignment we have to do in the course is easy or difficult. This is the very common question we ask. That's why here in this, from this audience, they also want to know about the assignment. So I would like to ask the question about assignment to Sia. Let me choose, Sia Hey. Okay, my question is, could you please tell us how many assignments there are in this course and what are some important factors to be aware of?
Yeah, that's a nice question. Yes, that's a nice question, and thank you for choosing me. Other teachers talk about like the different challenges and kind of difficulty that they have to overcome throughout the course. In my presentation, I only share the assignment you have to deal with throughout the course. Assignment is like another important factor on the CELTA course. CELTA is basically based on the continuous assessment. That's why this is the thing we need to consider. Assignment is the thing we need to consider as the important aspect. Okay, let me share my screen, everybody. First of all, I will walk you through the overview of how are the assignments on the course. Okay, so first, there are altogether 4 assignments on our CELTA course. We will talk about these assignments in detail later. And word count is 750 to 1,000 word, but according to our tutor suggestions, so 10% word count are permissible. Okay, and so it means that if you write over 1,000, don't worry. So 10% is permissible. And every assignment has a deadline. Every Saturday, for us, we have to submit our assignment every Saturday at 12 p.m. Like that. There is also a deadline for resubmission if you have to do the resubmission. And the second thing is like, if you have to resubmit, you don't see as a negative one. It doesn't mean fail. It means that you make necessary improvement to your assignment, double practice, double benefits, right? So that's why resubmission doesn't mean fail. Okay, so we on our course, we have to do lots of resubmissions. That's why every participant, don't worry if you have to do the resubmission. And the third thing is like, and next point is like, you have to upload your assignment in your folder created by your by the school, you join, and then sometimes some tutor request you to email the assignment to them, right? It may depend on your tutor. And the last thing is, this is the most important thing. So you guys need to be aware of the CELTA plagiarism. So it means that your written work need to be your own work, and it need to be 100% authentic. If you just copy these work from the resources or from your co-trainees, so you will be regarded as a disqualifying candidate on the course. Okay, that's why please be careful with the plagiarism. So first, it's like assignment 1. So on the call, we have 4 assignments as we mentioned. The first assignment 1 is focus on the learners. So the purpose of this assignment is you have to focus on one particular learner. So on the call, we have learners. So out of them, you have to focus on one particular learner you would like to choose, or as your tutor assign. It may depend. And you can focus on a pair of learners, and it can be a group of students. On our call, we have to do the assignment with a group of students. And there are significant characteristics of this assignment 1. First, you also have to create a strong group profile. Sometimes if you are doing the interview with the individual learners, you have to create an individual learner profile. So for us, we create a group profile. And the second thing is identifying the learner needs or learner problems. At the time, you have to provide a significant example. It means important example of your learners' grammatical errors or phonological error, or maybe lexical problems. Okay, it may depend on the written work. And the third thing is you have to select the text to address the learner problems. When you address the learner problem, you can select the strong version for the text you have chosen. Why is it effective for your learners, or like that? Part 1, for this learner characteristic, you have to create the learner profile using these information. First is their age. You need to know their culture and their mother tongue language and their education and all the background information. So by collecting these all information, and then you can create a strong learner profile in the part 1 of the assignment 1, focus on the learner. And then the second thing is you also have to identify the learner problems or learner needs, as I already mentioned. That's why you need to use the classroom observation note. No worry, your tutor will provide you with the classroom observation notes for identifying your learner problems. And the second thing is like you need your learner's written text. At the time, what we do is like we request our student to write like some simple essay. Simple essay like their hobbies or their interests or something. And then we analyze their errors from their written text. And another thing, if you don't have a chance to assess their written text, you can do is like you can observe their breakout room while co-trainee is teaching with you or teaching in the breakout room, teaching in the Zoom sessions or maybe in-person class, that you listen to each and every student and note down their mistake. In that way, we can identify the problems. And next thing is you need to do a lot of background researches on the internet or using the book from the library. So this is the example here, Learner English written by Michael Swan. And also we have to choose like another resource book written by different authors. Here is like how to collect the data and to create the learner profiles and to identify the needs. So here is like the sample 1 we had to do on the course. So this one will be provided by your tutor if you join the CELTA course, no worry. And then you need to choose the resources in an effective way or in a correct way. That's why we because you need to provide a single handout for their grammar errors and for their phonological error, and you need to design the same, effective text for your learners. That's why selecting resources is also important. And then after you have chosen the resources, the most important thing is that you do a lot of references at the back of the assignment. Okay, this is the important thing. Here are the way we had to do on the course. So this is like the references, and also this is the handout we prepare for their learners' error. First one you see here is on the left is like the grammar error for the grammar errors, and the second one is like for the phonological errors. The last one is resources. Okay, as I already mentioned, we have to rely on these books for background reading. This is like the Learner English by Michael Swan, and this is the practice on the call, we only focused on the one chapter, chapter 9, Developing Learner-Centered Teaching. It's the chapter 9 from this book, written by Jackie Richards. Here is like the resources for selecting tasks for the learner era. So you can use these two books. These two books are recommended. There can be many other books that can be effective for your learner. So this is the sample book we have chosen on the course, Book for Grammatical Problem. And here is like the books for phonological problems. So this is about the assignment 1, and here comes the assignment 2. Assignment 2 is about like language related tasks. So you are going to analyze the language. So the aim of the assignment is to help you analyze the language for teaching purposes, not for learning purposes. So as you are an English language teacher, that's why you need to know the language systematically. So this assignment aims you to analyze the language effectively for your teaching purposes. The significant characteristics of this assignment 2 is like all of those questions come in objective types. That's why you need to write only short answer, don't write like a prose. And then you need to analyze the language system, for example, lexic, grammar. And then you need to use the concept checking questions in a systematic way or in an effective way. And then the third one is timeline. You also need to know the timeline for tenses and aspect. And then the third one is like maybe you need to set your own context to convey the meaning of the vocabulary. This is the most important thing. And on the course, your tutor will remind you to remember to keep your language appropriately graded. So you will see the level, you are going to design the text for your pre-intermediate level or upper intermediate or advanced. So that's why this is the important thing, to keep your language graded when you set the context or when you prepare the concept checking questions. When you analyze the language, so basically there are three so vocabulary, grammar, and function. So we have to analyze meaning. When we analyze the meaning, we can use the CCQs for grammar and vocabulary. We can use timeline for tenses, and we can set our own context to explain the meanings of some vocabulary items. And you may refer to the dictionary, and you can write the definition that need to be simple and effective and easy to understand for the learner. That's why you need to keep your language graded when you give the definition. And the last thing is like you need to think about anticipated problems or mistakes of learners with regard to the meaning. And you need to analyze the form on the when you do this assignment 2. At the time, you have to do when you analyze the form for vocabulary, you have to analyze the part of speech. Is it noun or adjective or verb, like that? This is the example we have taken from our assignment. And here is the grammar analysis for form analysis for the grammar. And then the third thing is your pronunciation. It's like phonology. So here are the way you have to do. First is like phonemic script, and second one is word stress, sentence stress. And then next one is weak form in natural speech. So here are the example. And then the last one is the register. When you analyze the language, so you need to think about like the language is formal, informal, and neutral. And here are the useful website for concept checking questions. So if you want to look around, so you can use these websites for concept checking questions. And then here are the resources. So these are the resources on the call for this assignment recommended by our tutors. First is like you need to use Cambridge Learner dictionaries or any dictionary that are reliable. And then you can also use the English Grammar in Use and Grammar for English Language Teachers and Oxford Grammar Course Intermediate by Simon Walter, and Teaching English by James Cranberner, and Teaching Tenses. Those are important resources to do this assignment. Here are the book resources you can find on Google, or yes, they come in a PDF version, or you at the bookstore. And then you are at the end of the assignment, maybe like the last part is like you are going to write the references. So at the time you can cite the orders. So this is the way we have to write the references for this assignment, for every assignment, not for only assignment 1 and 2, but for assignment 3 and 4. And then this is, if you use the electronic source like dictionary, you need to give the references at the end of your assignment. So that's about the assignment 1 and 2. I would like to hand over to teacher No. She will walk you through the assignment 3.
Thank you, Sia. Thank you. Assignment 3, it is about language skill related tasks. So it is a vital, important of the course. And it provides us with an opportunity to demonstrate our ability to design a lesson that focuses on development of specific skills like listening, speaking, reading, and writing. The purpose of this assignment is to design or make your own materials and deliver effective based lessons for learners. Now let's talk about organizing this assignment. There are three main parts to organize this assignment, and they are choosing alternative materials, which is very important, and exploitations of text for developing receptive skill. And next one, exploitations of text for developing protective skills. First of all, we have to select the alternative materials. Okay, there are some types of materials and they are not designed for language learners. So teacher have to choose and design carefully. For example, we can choose the text from TED Talk and the articles from newspaper, magazine, like that. And when it comes to choosing materials, we have to consider the level of the learners and their interests and needs. So we can decide which receptive skill our learners can use, such as listening text or reading text. And also, after that, we have to design the task. When we design the tasks, there are some types of tasks we are very familiar with for reading and listening, like short answer, gap fill, and true false. For speaking, we have role play, discussion. These are very useful. And for writing, we can design an email related to the topics, and also we can design a role using the article as a model. And when we, in this case, we have to know that the tasks should be manageable for the learners. This is very important. For example, questions should appear the same way as in the text. It is not our intention to trick the students or create an additional challenge for them. So our questions should be worded differently from what is in the text. Otherwise, learners can answer the questions without understanding the text. So there should not be a lot of questions for reading or listening for detailed tasks. And it is suggested that 6 questions should be sufficient. And for each task, we need a brief rationale, which are asked to quote from one of the books suggested. So therefore, the background reading is required for this assignment. And we must use references from our reading to provide rationale. After the task is structured, we must decide which sub-skill could be practiced. For example, for receptive skill, we usually use skimming and scanning, and for protective skill, we should consider the fluency or accuracy. Then we can design a role play for speaking or an email to a friend related to the topic of for writing. When I prepared my assignment 3, I planned for upper intermediate student. I chose a listening test from the TED Talk show, and it is 3 things I learned while my plane crashed by Rick, and then there are some vocabulary I had to pre-teach, and I planned the meaning by using CCQs and explaining through context and giving similar words. And then I use the short question for listening for the gist. For this, we have to ask general question, not too detailed. For listening for specific detail, I use true or false tasks. And there are 6 items in the task, and I plan them in order in the same way as in the text.
So I chose a role play as a productive skill to skill practice. So to choose the student out to check the student outcomes. And finally, I could submit a single handout with all three tasks on its professionally designed as for classroom use. Yeah. So that's all about the assignment 3 I would like to share, and I would like to hand over Teacher Pyo.
Yeah, thank you,
Yes.
teacher. Yeah, I'm going to share the assignment 4. Yeah, this is the last assignment, but we needed to collect the data or information at the beginning of the course. Yeah, okay. This is it is one of the significant of this assignment. We note down each and everything the best practice in the classroom teaching or the peers teaching or something like that. And yeah, based on our notes, we need to do self-evaluation and evaluating ourselves. There are strengths and weaknesses. And based on these, we need to explore the ELT strategy to develop these weaknesses. Okay. In this assignment, there are two main parts. The first one is about teaching two teaching strengths. We need to explain about our teaching strengths from week 1 to from week 1 to week 3 of our course. We have progress in some teaching areas. For example, TTT, teacher talking time. Yeah, we need to sometimes we need to reduce the TTT and giving clear instruction or CCQ or some, yeah. And okay, we identify which teaching strengths we have progress, and yeah, explain how we progress in these two areas and what ELT strategy we use to improve our skills. Okay, here is it is important to provide evidence of our progress by summarizing or quoting from the feedback we got from our TP from tutors. And also we can refer learning from the observation or experienced teacher or peers, including observation text something. Let me share my screen. I would like to show the observation text some example or observation text something here. Okay, this is the observation text. Throughout the course, we observe the 6 hours or experienced teacher. We need to observe the 6 hours or experienced teacher, and we need to take notes in detail. By using the tabular form, we can refer these.
Hello, teacher. Yeah.
Okay, and another one is part 2. Yeah, part 2 is about 2 areas of development. In this part 2, we also identify 2 teaching areas of further development. Yeah, based on our observation of experienced teachers and ELT theory, we draw up an action plan of how we would go about developing in these areas of teaching. And we need to mention specific ELT strategies we would use to work on our identifying weaknesses. Yeah. In the action plan, we must include details of how we would develop our ELT knowledge and skill beyond the CELTA course. Example, seminar or conferences like this webinar or like panel discussion or some, yeah. Okay, how we would develop our profession. Yeah, okay. Okay, and how to record the data. Yeah, as you know, we can use the reflective journal, record our learning and our realization and action points to improve our teaching practice based on classroom observation tasks, observation of peers, experienced teachers and tutor, and also TP feedback from peers and tutor. TP feedback could be in the form or written and oral. Yeah. Okay, for this assignment, we can refer these resources, learning, teaching, and how to teach English. And the last one is the practice of English language teaching. Okay, these are the references for the assignment 4. Okay, yeah, this is all about the assignment 4. Thank you so much. I would like to hand over to Sia Han. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Teacher Chu. Okay, thank you, Sia Hey, Teacher No, and Teacher Chu for sharing about written assignment that you did during the course. So as far as I know, CELTA has another type of assessment. So it is assessing candidate teaching practice. Therefore, I would like to ask something about this. So could you please share general information about teaching practice with us, Teacher King? Teacher King, could you please share with us something about teaching practice?
Yes, dear. Thank you. And I will share about the general information of teaching practice in the course. Okay, let
Yes.
me share my screen. Okay, this is the general information. So there are 8 TPs during the course. So even you join the the hybrid course or online short course or maybe long-term course. So there you have to do 8 TPs, teaching practice, and you have to teach 2 levels of students. They are pre-intermediate level for the first week of teaching practice, and you have to do upper intermediate level for another 4 TPs. So according to the name of the course is certification in English 2 Adapt. That's why the number of students are 10 to 20 students from different countries. They all are Adapt learners, not young learners. And then one of the teachers, there are how can I say, 4 trainees in a group, find 1 tutors, and after 4 TBs, we have to meet different tutors, and it's called we need to switch tutors, and the course books are also maybe different depending on the standards. But in our standards, they give us English 5 pre-intermediate level book, and then Hardway upper intermediate levels, and if you join the different center, you will receive the other book to use in your TPs. And then the TPs total hour is 6 hours during the course. So there may be also a little different of time allocation. In other groups, the 1 TP lasts 40 minutes, 45 minutes, and 1 hour. So this is the general information of TPs, and thank you, teachers. And for the other assessment, I would like to invite Teacher Guza.
Teacher Yimi.
Oh, sorry, Teacher Yimin will deliver them. Will tell about his challenges during the TB. Okay,
Mhm. Yes,
Okay, thank you again. Okay, yes, I will minimize my talk because so much input. In terms of yes, in terms of challenges, actually more or less the same with the former speakers. That's why I'm going to highlight only 3 in TB. What are the challenges? To highlight 3 before TB and why TB and after TB. Before TB, we have to you have already know that we have to write a lesson plan. We got the results only on Friday. We confirm you are going to teach that. After that, we have to write lesson plan on Saturday and Sunday. And then on Monday, because on Monday we are going to teach. That's why it's in a hurry and we need to do a lot. And we also need to break down the lesson plans so as to meet the requirements set by the standards. It's one of the challenge I faced. This is before the lesson. Wine lesson, wine TB is also challenging for me because especially the student participation. Students are international students. According to my experience in my TB, there I think 10 Indian students and 4 Myanmar students. As we are doing teaching in the evening, and some of the students just come from their work. They are on the way. They are joining with a mobile phone, and I found it really challenging to get the participation from them because they are on the way. I asked them to, okay, can you switch on your camera, please? Only when I see their face, it's easy for me to teach. But they were very reluctant to switch on their camera. And when I called their name, they didn't give any reply. At the same time, I have to finish my lesson within 45 minutes. I also want to get their participation. So, okay, too extreme. I have to minimize. I have to compromise. I have to go on the halfway. This is one challenge I faced. And last after teaching, I need to receive the feedback from my tutors and as well as my fellow trainings. It's also challenging because okay, Yin, you used in lead-in you use the stage, and while teaching you use this method. Why did you use? I need to have a reason. The reason that is strong and sound reasons. Only if I fail to how can I present good the sound reasons, I mean I'm not quite sure to get the standard in my teaching. That's why I need to strike it a lot. At the same time, if I happen to give the feedback to them, my feedback to the other teacher trainings. Fellow trainings need to be sensitive and also acceptable to them. Because not only one we are going to do 8 TB. That's why all the time we need to focus. We need to highlight the thing that we highlight is sensible and also need to be flexible. These are the challenges that I faced when I did my TBs. Thank you, Sia.
And thank you for sharing your experience, Yaye. We are really happy to listen to your experience or how you overcome these challenges. Teacher Tusa, what about you? Did you also face any challenges? If yes, how did you overcome them with no or without any difficulty?
Of course, okay, very challenging.
Wow.
See, I would like to share my experience how to overcome TBs. Yes, 4 topics. And number 1, time management. And number 2, teachers' language. And number 3, happy learning environment. And number 4, okay, growth mindset, which is very important. For the time management, okay, before TB, why TBs and after TB, see, every second and minutes are very important. And I propose my lessons and PowerPoint on Sunday afternoon. Then our group discuss and deep peer checking on every Sunday night. Then we try to ready for the TP. So see, why TB? Sometimes I cannot accomplish some steps. Then we should have plan B. See, for example, and I planned 5 questions for protection stage, but I couldn't finish them on time. So I asked my students, okay, you can discuss number 1 and 2 with your groups. And if you have more time, you can go on the rest. But see, you must finish at least 2 questions because we have to observe there are language errors. Then we have to give the feedback. So after TB, we have only 10 or 15 minutes for self-evaluation for my TB. So I have to write very quickly, what did I do, or what didn't I do, and how will you prepare for the for the next TB.
Okay.
So see, so the now here's it. This is very challenging for us, but here's how we are going to reduce this stressful zone. So our good trainings have to give up and after TB, and sometimes maybe as teacher Yin has already mentioned about that, sometimes we don't want to accept some of the feedback from our good trainees. and I did it. Why did okay? I did this and that. Why did they point out me? Of course, now actually see those feedback are really very valuable, and that I need to work on for the next TB, because see us they were observing throughout the TB, and they knew my needs and that I might not know the East. So see, so by listening their feedback, so this is a kind of improvement and to improve my teaching strategies. So see, the last but not the least, see, the group mindset is really really important for this journey to develop your professional skills. So those are the things you see, and how can I say, I overcame my TBs with my good trainees. Say, maybe you might think that CELTA is a very challenging journey, but it doesn't matter, and you can do it, and you can overcome it with the help of good trainees, with your very hard work. And thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you, Teacher Tusa. Okay, in my opinion, knowing different form of assessment might not be enough. We also need to know the assessment criteria so that we will achieve our target goal. That's why this time I would like to ask about the assessment criteria. So I would like to call out Teacher No. Could you please explain the assessment criteria for CELTA based on your experience?
Sure, yeah, I'm ready. Based on our experience and from the CELTA training guide, assessment will be continuous and integrated, which means it takes place throughout the course. And there are three components of assessment. They are assessments of teaching practice, written assignments, and the candidate's professional development. So regarding the written assignment, you will be given written feedback on each assignment and grade, pass or fail. But do not worry, written assignments are marked for their content and their standard of English, and you must pass in both areas to get on an overall pass for the assignment. At least 2 assignments must be written in formal continuous prose, and then your written work must be confirmed as your own. And if any piece of work is found to be unsatisfactory, you will have a chance to resubmit it by the deadline. And if still unsatisfactory after resubmission, it will be graded as fail. But do not worry, it is possible to fail one assignment and pass the course. And however, if you do not pass one assignment, it is not possible to be awarded a pass A. So if you fail 2 assignments, you cannot be awarded a pass grade at the end of the course. Yeah, this is the information about the assignments criteria. Thank you, Sia.
Okay, thank you, Teacher No. Well noted. And Teacher No talk about assessment criteria for written assignment. So Teacher Pure, would you like to say something about assessment criteria for teaching practice?
Sure, sir. Okay. Okay, let me share my screen here. Here is the list of criteria for teaching practice. Okay, S plus for above the standard, and X meets the standard, and N not to standard, and X is not applicable. Yeah. Yeah. As the former speaker said that we have to do 6 hours or assess 8 teaching practices. Yeah. And okay, before the teaching practice, an hour ahead, we need to submit or we need to upload our lesson plan, PowerPoint or the teaching materials, PowerPoint, worksheet or handout. Yeah, we need to share with them, with the tutor. As sometimes we need to share the with the fellow trainee. Okay, after the teaching practice, we can we do the self-reflection. Yeah, and after that, we discuss the reflection or the feedback from the peers as well as from the tutors. And after that, maybe 1 hour or after 1 or 2 hours, we got the remark or the written feedback form from the tutor. Yeah? And in this, there are two ways in the written feedback form, as well as our lesson plan with their feedback too. Okay, in the feedback form, we got our standard or teaching practice, X plus or X, or yeah, okay. Yeah, and another thing is we need to observe the teaching practice or the peers, our peers, yeah, teaching practice, and we observe the teaching practice, and before changing the level, we observe the other teaching practice at the another level, and so that we are familiar with the lesson for the other level, how to run these groups, because we have 2 groups for the teaching practice and 2 levels. That's why, yeah. Okay, this is this is the criteria for the teaching practice. Yeah. Sia.
Okay, thank you, teacher.
Would you like to add? Yeah.
Okay, Sia, would you like to add any additional information?
Yes, in my part, I will share only 3 or 4 points related to the assessments of the CELTA. So as you all know, the CELTA journey, you guys have a lot on your plate, as other people mentioned, and the course itself is totally serious, daunting, and sometimes rigorous, but it's truly rewarding because you have many opportunities to learn different teaching techniques, teaching practices, and your professional development practices, and also some techniques for classroom management. In my part, I will be sharing only 3 to 4 points. First is like your self-evaluation. So it is a kind of assessment. You have to evaluate yourself by the end of the TB, right? So you will have a template, no worry. Your tutor will provide you the template. Each and every after TB, you have to complete these template and send back to your tutors within 15 minutes. That's the thing. So when you write the self-evaluation, I would like to share you a few useful tips. First, it's like you need to be a reflective person. So you truly need to be a reflective person. So because like they are, as you see here, so there are a few questions. You can see this is my own self-evaluation sheet I have used for my TB number 7. So first is like your overall feelings about your lesson. You have to share your overall feeling and whether it is good or bad and how you feel throughout the lesson. So what changes do you see throughout the lessons? And then do you think you fully achieve your lesson aim? So at the time, you need to be honest. So as far as I could remember in TV6 or 5, I'm not sure, I said like, I achieved 4 of the aim. My tutor commented my self-evaluation like, hey, really? So that's why I think you need to be honest, and you need to write honestly, and then you need to think simply, and then and don't be too exaggerated. That's this is the important, these are the important key takeaways when you write the self-evaluation. The second part of the self-evaluation is like you need to highlight the you are going to talk about the things, the areas, the key area that your lesson went well. So this is, in this case, you also need to be honest, and you need to write simply, and you need to be very reflective. You have to be very reflective person. And number 3 part is like which part did not work as you had hoped. So it means like in which part of your lesson things are not, didn't things go well. And then the last stage is like your choice. If you taught the lesson again, how would you change? So all of those, when you write the self-evaluation, you need to be a very reflective person, and you need to think simply, and you need to write honestly. And then the next part is like your tutor evaluation. So this is also one of the important parts of your assessment. So, but because like by the end of the TB, your tutor will give you the oral feedback, and also after 2 or 3 hours, you will also receive written feedback from your tutor. At the same time, they will tell you your lesson is standard or not to standard, or above the standard or weak to standard. There are many different criteria depending on your lesson delivery. So these are the feedback I have received on the course from my tutor. So first, on this sheet, you see like there are 2 parts. First part is like overall lesson comment from your tutor regarding planning your lesson delivery. They will tell you in an explicit way how your lesson planning was like, and how your lesson delivery is like, and then which thing went well and which thing didn't go well. And they will also tell you the truth. Okay, next part is like your positive point and action point. Positive point, if you have got many positive points, as the human nature, we all are very happy because these are the aim to maintain. But remember that these are the aim to maintain for the next TP. And the next one is the action point. So in this case, we shouldn't see action point as a negative point. These are very, very, they highlight our, they will take you to the next step or next level, because these are you need to take them on board for the next TP. In that way, your tutor will assess whether you are progressing or not on the course. Okay, and the next one is like your oral feedback from your peers or from your co-trainee or fellow trainee. These they will tell you like which thing they like about your lesson and which thing they don't like about your lesson. In this case, they are talking about they will also tell you like how to improve your lesson for the next TP. So those are all positive, and we should see as a positive aspects of teaching on the course. And the last thing is like when you are joining the course, 100% attendance is a must. That's why you cannot give any reason or any excuses if you skip the class. That's why be careful. You have to give 100% attendance on the course. Here are the assessment criteria we have explained for the CELTA course.
Okay, thank you, Siahe. Okay, so far we have learned different types of assessment, that is written assignment and teaching practice, and how they are assessed. So I hope that the audience will surely get useful and helpful tips from you in relation to this. And in the next section, I would like to ask some of you about the biggest challenges you have had after attending CELTA course. So firstly, I would like to ask Teacher 2. So what is the biggest changes you have had after attending CELTA course?
Okay. Again, thank you, Hey, for letting me the chance. So for the bigger changes, actually, if I have to mention, there were lots of things I have to cover up after CELTA, because I can say honestly that there are lots of positive changes that I gained after CELTA, but I like to pick up 3 main things that I see much change in me. So the first one is about language analysis. Before CELTA, I didn't used to do language analysis. It means that I really didn't know how to implement the pronunciation practice, and also other CCQs, ICQ, whatever. And I didn't know that I need to write it down in detail for each and every word, the main words that I'm going to convey in the classroom. So after CELTA, I started to learn about how to do language analysis before our lesson, before the real teaching, and it really helps me a lot in the real practice. So that's the first thing. And the second thing is about self-confidence. I think it will be more or less the same with other teachers. After CELTA, I have a little bit more confidence in teaching, but it doesn't mean that I don't need to learn more. It means that I have to learn more and more, because I start to touch in, some more area, that I need to know. So, I think CELTA builds me up, for my teaching, and then, the self-confidence has improved more. That's the second thing. The third thing is about, self-awareness. During CELTA, ATPs were assessed by the tutors and also by the peers. So it means that, you need to know about, you got to know more about yourself. Whenever you do teaching, you know yourself, what is right, what's wrong, what you did well, what you didn't go well, like that. You started to feel a lot about what you're really doing in the classroom. So, after CELTA, I get to know a lot about myself. I become a little bit reflexive person. I in the teaching area, in the classroom management, I become more aware of myself. So that's another positive change that I got after CELTA. Yes, thank you, Sia.
Okay, thank you, teacher too. So what about Sianyi? Do you also feel the difference between, before and after the CELTA course?
Yes, of course. So it's like turning over a new leaf. So I have changed a lot. So after CELTA and before CELTA, I can see two different versions of me. So the first thing is pronunciation session. So I didn't usually put pronunciation teaching in my lesson before I took CELTA. So pronunciation teaching was usually outshown in my teaching. So if the student asks me how to pronounce this, I usually just speak it out, and I didn't really put the practice session. So after the CELTA course, in every slot, so I try to put an effective, achievable, and like understandable pronunciation session for every second language learner, including me. I'm also learning this. So, and I also put the choral drilling, individual drilling effectively to deliver my lesson. So that's one of the important change. Another thing is I have more confidence in lesson planning and then delivering the effective teaching to the learners. Before I took the CELTA course, I usually ran like I did before yesterday or like the same week. But after the CELTA course, so I'm trying to find my continuous professional development, and I also try to find a new ways to adapt with the learner's need. And another thing is like I have become more and more reflective with rationales. In my health, I have so many what's, hows, whys, every stages in my lesson. So it has improved me a lot. So for those who haven't done the CELTA course, please don't feel discouraged. You can find lots and lots of resources from the internet. So please don't be stuck at one point. So you can move on. So in this internet age, so I would like to encourage you to move on with step by step. Okay, so you will change step by step with the new things that you have learned. So that's what I have changed, and I would like to encourage some of them. So thank you, Sia.
Okay, thank you, Sia Nini. So you benefited a lot from this course. Great to hear that. Okay, the third and final one goes to Teacher Tazin. Teacher Tazin, please share your experience with us too.
Yes, yeah, I'd like to say thank you to Siani for giving us encouragement. That's really lovely. CELTA course was a life-changing experience that helped me to discover new skills and growth, both personally and professionally. One of the biggest changes I noticed was how confident I am and I became in facing difficulties and challenges. Additionally, I gained a greater awareness of language use and the error correction. Here, before attending the CELTA course, I kept saying that I have no time for professional development since I'm fully occupied. So I'd like to ask the participants of this webinar today, what's your excuse? Can you please type in the chat? Yeah, no time. Yes, thank you, Xia Weiyan. How about other teachers? Do you have any excuse for your professional development? Yes, yeah, Austin, full-time job, too busy, feeling exhausted after work, right? Busy, definitely, yes, we are very busy. So many multitasking, yes, true, yes. Teacher Designé, yes, so tired and very expensive. Exactly, Zia Richard. Yes, budget. We have to think about this too, right? Thank you, teachers and Zia. But now my thoughts about professional development has changed. CELTA course trained me to aware that Everything is possible, but only that you need to aware is that you need to start. CELTA course, it's a course that trained us to become a good teacher. Secondly, I gain understanding of importance of accurate language use in effective communication. And last but not the least, error correction is the important part in teaching, as I've mentioned earlier. This course fueled my ability to recognize and correct error and common mistakes made by the English language speakers. So yeah, that's all about me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Teacher Tazin. So when I check the chat box, we have no question for Q&A section. That's why instead I would like to recap what we covered today, experience sharing sections. So the firstly, the discussion group member presented the minimum requirement to join CELTA. Then they shared their big challenges and how they overcome them. After that, they talk about the different types of assessment followed by the assessment criteria. Finally, the three teachers share the biggest changes they have had in their profession after attending CELTA course. So is there any questions would you like to ask from the audience?
Yeah, the questions are in the chat. Thank you.
But I didn't see any questions.
Yeah, I will put it in the for everyone section. Yes.
Oh. So from my side, I can see only one or two questions.
Here is a list. Yeah.
So here is I can see only 3 questions, teacher. Am I right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. And the first question is there an exam for CELTAs? So who would like to answer the questions from the discussion group members? Hello?
Yes, Sia, there isn't any exam for this CELTA course. CELTA course, the whole CELTA course is based on assessment system. As Sia Hain, Teacher Alice, Teacher Pyo, Teacher Tuza, Teacher Kim, they all have already mentioned that everything, all TPs and assignments are assessed with criteria. So the thing is that there is no exam, just assessment-based course.
Okay, thank you, Teacher Tase. Okay, the next question is there any scholarship program for CELTA course? This is an interesting question. Who would like to answer?
Again, it's me. Yes, maybe in the future, but we don't know yet. It depends on the donor and the center who will provide scholarship program for Myanmar, local people. So I think all the teachers of English need to stay tuned and look for the scholarship programs online. That will be possible. Thank you.
Okay, the next question will be, is it also okay for the teacher who do not have enough teaching experience to join CELTA course?
Okay, I will answer.
Okay, yeah.
If you are experienced teacher, it's preferable. If you do not have experience, it's no problem. Still, you can join. As we have already suggested that there's some requirements and set up, but no specific teaching experience is required.
Okay, thank you, CIE. Another interesting question is the difference between CELTA and MmTESOL. So, how can I say? So how would you like to point out the difference between CELTA and MmTESOL? But actually, this section is just for CELTA. That's why it might be a bit difficult to answer or to point out the differences. That's why let me skip that question.
Yeah, if I may be wrong, but I can suggest some answers here.
Okay,
And also the other
thank
teachers
you.
can suggest too. The differences between CELTA, DELTA, and TESOL, it's different because CELTA is certificate section and DELTA, it's about diploma. After CELTA, we can apply for DELTA. So first you need to have CELTA certificate. After that, you can go for DELTA. All of these are about teacher training courses. So if you join these courses, definitely you'll become a well-trained and well-experienced teacher. TESOL, it's also a kind of certificate program, and you can, the lesson plan, all the things are about teaching experience.
Thank you, teacher Tazin. And that might be useful. That might be a helpful answer for the audience.
Yes.
And
Teacher
the
May
next
might
one,
have some answer too. Yeah. Thank you, Teacher May.
Yes, just thinking, for me, TESOL is the same as ELT. We use the term ELT, English Language Teaching, very widely, and still it is used. And TESOL, it has been used quite recently, and it has become more popular. And it seems that it has replaced the term ELT. But for me, they are synonymous. ELT for English language teaching, TESOL for teaching English to speakers of other languages. So for me, they mean the same, but the names are different. And CELTA and DELTA, as teacher Dazin mentioned, CELTA is a certificate level teacher training course, and DELTA is the diploma level teacher training course. Okay, and training is a very broad term. In fact, they give you a lot of background theories and also hands-on practices. And for TESOL, and although it is an area, but these days we have for TESOL certificate and TESOL diploma. So now, if you are talking about TESOL certificate and diploma, and okay, they are the, if you are talking about certificate, it is a certificate level, and if you are talking about diploma, it's a diploma level. So that's how I understand by the word TESOL. So to summarize, TESOL and ELT are the same, looking at the terms. Thank you.
Thank you, teacher Mimi. Okay, and the next question is related to resources. Is there any useful resources for self-study for those who would like to join CELTA course? So during the presentation, you also find out some kind of books and article you use for your assignment. So is there any books you would like to recommend or any website that will be useful for the audience for the futures? Who would like to share something related to resources?
So one thing I would like to recommend is that using the search engine, for example, Google or Microsoft. So Microsoft has now Bing. So Bing has ChatGPT for AI. So you can find self-study for CELTA books. So there will be a list there. So you can just use them as a reference. So that's my best suggestion for those who would like to study by themselves. Thank you.
Thank you, Sianini. And the next question is, where could they join CELTA course? Where could they join CELTA course? Hello?
Hello. So
Hello.
where could they join, right? Yeah, that question.
Yeah, where, yeah.
So for the teachers, I think in our country, most of the teachers join two centers. The first one is Singapore British Council, and second one is RH Bangkok. The cost for center course in Bangkok is round about $1750, I think. For the currency rate, for Myanmar, Myanmar is equal to 52 lakh, round about 52 lakh. Because there is another question in the chat box, that's why.
Yes,
In Singapore's British Council, there may be about 100 lakh.
Oh.
This
Okay,
is
thank you,
standard
teacher
that we can
King,
draw.
for also pointing out the expense. Yeah, dear audience, we also send you the link. Please fill the given Google form for our tonight webinar. Yeah, I think these are all the questions. We have no more questions. Okay, thank you everyone. Thank you the discussion group member as well as the audience. So I would like to end this section with a beautiful quote that will be presented by our group discussion group member. So as usual, let me call our CIN first. CIN.
Oh, okay. Okay, first of all, thank you, Xiahan, for having X. Yeah, okay, and all the participants, okay, for taking away message. Okay, CELTA X, the passport for the passport for ELD industry. Okay, why don't you have it?
Okay, thank you, CIN. Teacher Tuzan.
So hello, dear teachers. See, taking a CELTA course is a challenging journey, but teachers never give up. See, you can do it.
Thank you. And teacher King.
Okay. Okay, teachers, and we all, I think, 50 CELTA graduates and also teacher me and others educator in MmTESOL want all the teachers in this webinar want the CELTA scholarships. So CELTA scholarship is a great opportunity for me. So that's why my condition for the CELTA is one opportunity knocks. So you have to get up off the seats and open the door. Thank you.
Thank you, teacher King. Kesiani.
Okay, so my quote is, the hunger of knowledge can be satiated by embracing a mindset of lifelong learning. Thank you.
Thank you, Siani. Teacher Tazin.
Dreams are very expensive, but don't let dreams be just dreams. Make it a reality. Thank you, Sia.
Thank you. Teacher Tu.
Yes, yeah. So I think that lots of teachers will be wondering, oh, CELTA is really expensive. So here, I like to refer the quote, an investment in knowledge pays the best interest. Yes.
Okay, it is the best quote. And Sia Hey.
My code is like, the CELTA journey is an emotional roller coaster, but I'm sure all your hard work will pay off at the end of the day. Why not?
Okay. Teacher Pyo.
Yes, Sia. Upgrading your teacher's skills through CELTA makes you a fruitful language teacher. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, teacher No.
Okay. Learning the English language is like a waterfall. No one cannot stop you. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, every teacher. Okay, I think this is the time for ending our sections. Thank you again, everyone, for participating in our sections.